Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome if you're new. My name's Kimberly and today I'm here in my kitchen and I want to prepare a delicious and refreshing vegan spring roll. Now I know fall is fast approaching, but it's not fall yet, and actually this weekend is said to be over 100 degrees here in LA, so I think it's time for a yummy and refreshing treat. So let's get into the video and see how I make vegan spring rolls. All right, let's get right into it. So I have a block of extra firm tofu. I pressed some of the water out. I have some soy sauce. I use the low sodium kind. Some sesame oil, which gives it great flavor. I use ginger and garlic powder. You can also use onion powder or chili flakes. I'm making what my family likes, so I just use ginger and garlic. I had already poured some soy sauce, but I just want to show you how much I use. I use about a quarter cup of soy sauce. Actually, that's a little bit less, and I end up adding more to it later. This is about, I would say in total, I use maybe 10 drops of this sesame oil, a quarter teaspoon of the garlic powder, and a quarter teaspoon of the ginger. Now the sesame oil burns at a low temperature, so you don't want to go too crazy. It's just to add flavor and make your tofu nice and tasty. Tofu is a really good source of protein and it absorbs pretty much anything you flavor it with, so I love using it. And leave a comment if you love this little whisk. I love this tiny little whisk. I just want to make so many tiny things because it's so adorable. Anyway, let's cut our tofu. I cut it in about 1/4 inch slices all the way through. So I'm just using my comal, that's just what I'm using, a griddle, I guess. You could use a saucepan if you'd like. I just want to sear the tofu, so this is on medium-high heat, and I didn't use any oil. I don't like to, well, I do like fried foods, but I'm trying to stay away from fried stuff right now, so I just added a little bit of sesame oil in the marinade. And if you have non-stick, or you could even do this on stainless steel at the right temperature, you can just sear the tofu on both sides. So I just brush on my little marinade and put the tofu right on. It is going to stick at the beginning, but once it sears completely, you'll be able to lift it off the pan with no effort. So I'm just going to go in and brush the other side of my tofu. And my comal is so old and bent that it literally turns when I try to use it. So if you have a comal like this, I feel for you. But I mean, why get a new one, right? It still works. Now that my tofu's ready, I'm gonna go ahead and make my noodles. These are bean threads. They're those glass noodles made out of mung beans, which I love. You can also use rice noodles, which are more appropriate, I believe, for this recipe, but this is what I found at the market and they work just fine. You want to follow the package instructions because these cook so quickly. You don't want to overcook them because they get really mushy and gross. You want them to have a good texture, a good bite, and to be nice and springy and plump. So as soon as the cooking time is done, put them in an ice bath and let them chill a little bit before you drain them completely. So this is what my noodles look like once they've chilled and they've been drained. You can see they're nice and plump, they're really springy, and they're not chewy at all. They maintain their texture, and that's what you want. So for my sauce, I'm using plain peanut butter. Use a plain one, no sugars added. I'm using some rice vinegar. I'm also going to add in some hoisin sauce. This sauce is vegan, but check your labels. Sometimes these do have like fish or oyster or something like that. So make sure it's vegan. And some sriracha. You can also use a chili paste. You can use gochujang if you like that. That's like a Korean chili paste. Use whatever you like. I'm not one to follow a recipe to a T. Even the recipes that I get online or from YouTube videos, I always end up changing them a little bit because I like it either spicier or sweeter or, you know, tangier, whatever it may be. So these are the measurements I used, but I do tinker with them a little bit. So you do whatever you like. I used a 1/4 cup of the peanut butter and a 1/4 cup of the hoisin sauce. I also go in with a tablespoon of the rice vinegar and about a tablespoon of the hot sauce. Though you'll see I added a little bit and then later on I added more. I think in total it was about a tablespoon or maybe 1.5 tablespoons. But that's just how I like it. I like the sauce extra spicy. So these are just recommendations, but just go through and taste your sauce and make it the way you like. So this sauce gets really thick. I'm gonna go ahead and add some water and just add little by little until you get the consistency you want. And don't worry about watering it down. This sauce is just packed with flavor. It's tangy, it's sweet, it's spicy, it's nutty, salty. There's just so many flavors going on and it's delicious. So don't be afraid to add a little water just to thin it out to the consistency you prefer. So now I'm gonna prep some veggies. I'm just using a peeler to make some ribbons out of this carrot. You can slice them up really finely, but this is faster and easier and it tastes the same, I promise. These are just some sweet bell peppers. I know they look like chilies, but they're bell peppers. They're mini bell peppers. So this is just what I had in my fridge. That's another thing I love about this recipe is you can use whatever you have in your fridge. If you have stuff that's ready to go, you can use it. So this is the rice paper that I'm using. They look kind of like wafers and you could find these at most supermarkets or at Asian markets. And what you want to do is put some hot water in a bowl. Ideally it should fit your sheets. Mine almost fit, not quite. But you want to get that hot water in there. It's not boiling hot. It's a little hotter than warm, I guess. I don't know if that's a thing. So you want to soak them in there a little bit. Don't wait too long because they get really thin. So you can see it's not totally translucent, but once I let it sit a little bit, it's already really thin and stretchy. So you want to pile in your vegetables. I also have some butter lettuce. Those are my carrot ribbons. I sliced up a cucumber that I had in the fridge. Girl, I went through my whole fridge and just took out all the veggies I found. Some cilantro. These are my red bell peppers. And I'm going to flip them just because I want all those pretty colors to show on the outside. And I'm putting my 2 slices of tofu. Lastly, I'm going to stack on my noodles. So just set them right on top. They're getting a little sticky. And you want to roll up your spring rolls. So you want to have all your ingredients laid out and chopped up ahead of time because you do kind of have to work quickly with these rice paper sheets. But there you go. So I'm going to make another one for you guys. I think I'm going to get a plate so I could plate them up. And let me show you. I'll make another one so you can see quickly. So I'm just soaking my sheet in the hot water And once you take it out, you want to just take off the excess. You could put a little bit of water down on your cutting board, and then I'm just kind of massaging that water in. Now I'm going to start the other way around instead of flipping my veggies. So my bell pepper, my cucumbers, some little carrot ribbons, and my cilantro or coriander if you're fancy. And my lettuce is going to go on top. And you can use any kind of lettuce. Like I said, this is butter lettuce, but you can use romaine. I've made these with spinach before too, and they taste great. So tofu and then noodles on top. And they don't have to look perfect as long as everything gets in there. So you can even stretch the rice paper around a little bit. Don't pull too hard because they can rip once they're soft. But you want to stuff it like a burrito. So I'm just stuffing it. I'm trying to pack it in tightly. And you can see this one at the end had a little bit sticking out of the side. But it's okay. They look really pretty and they taste great. So this is my final product. I plated it up and I think they look so pretty. They're just colorful and fresh. These are the perfect lunch for a hot day. I hope you enjoyed this recipe and I hope you try it at home. Give this video a like if you like this kind of content. Share it with your friends and family. And subscribe if you haven't done so already. The little button is right down there. So thank you guys for joining me once again, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a like. Thank you guys for joining me today. Thank you for joining.